Hello, and welcome to the Disc Dungeon, where we put you on to musics and melodies in the deepest, darkest dungeons of your computer disk. I'm your co-host, Joe Dove, and with me as always,
Julian Valencia. And if there's one thing we love talking about, it's music. Guys, welcome to another episode of Disc Dungeon.
Episode 29.
The D Dungeon.
The D Dungeon.
The D Dungeon. Oh, man. Are we going to get, shut down because of that?
No.
I mean,
Nobody gets that.
Nowadays it's
Nah.
a little touchy.
Fine.
It's okay.
Hey, any press is good press, you know.
I'm Hispanic, guys. You can't tell with my mask on. But
And everybody thinks I'm Hispanic, so
there you go.
we're fine.
Oh, your name is Joseph.
Joseph. I was supposed to be Josie.
Josie?
I found out. Yeah, I was supposed to be named after my dad's best friend. But when the birth certificate came, they just wrote Joseph, and it was over.
Oh, for me, I was supposed to be Emmanuel.
Oh, my dad's name is Manuel.
No, Emmanuel.
Hey, Manuel.
Like that, the full name would have been Emmanuel.
Oh boy, that would have been something.
But then my dad got sent to jail, and my mom decided to name me after him.
Oh, okay. That's what's up.
The tiniest violin. Guys, welcome to episode 29, Arrival and Departure.
So we have a very interesting episode with another reflection or polar opposites that come together and make a beautiful equation of music bliss. And this week, I put you on to one of my favorite bands, and this band will be mentioned again in the Music Saved My Life section, and that is Faithless, To All New Arrivals.
Yeah, To All New Arrivals was a cool album. It reminded me of a robotic jungle. That's kind of that's the imagery that was going through my mind. Like I imagined, think of the Amazon rainforest, but everything was just robots.
Well, Wonder Woman 84 coming out. Maybe it's another throwaway.
Maybe they should use that music.
Yeah, maybe they should.
But all in all, so this is a male vocalist and a female vocalist as well, which I realized that you really like. You gravitate towards that combo.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy that duality. Like the yin and yang, I just think it's a really nice balance because it's not one the whole time or the other one the whole time. It's like, okay, here's a little bit of that, here's a little bit of this, and it's nice to go back and forth. It's a nice play off each other. It's like ping pong.
Yeah. So the male vocalist has this style about him where he's not really singing. It's kind of like spoken word most of the time.
DJ Maxi Jazz.
Yeah, and and then you add a British accent on there, and it's pretty cool to listen to.
Yeah.
The female vocalist, obviously, she takes care more of the harmonies and the nice melodies, which I always love. I would say that overall, I would give this album an 8. And the only reason why I wouldn't give it a 10 is just because, again, guys, I mean, this is my opinion, and it's just not something that I would listen to and stop and then put on my album or put on my playlist. It's not that for me, but simply based on the instrumentation, the soundscapes that, again, I see that you really love in your music as well, and the lyrics. I think you informed me that both the male and female vocalist in this album were inspired by the fact that they both had children around the same time.
Yep. This is the hence of the To All New Arrivals. And even DJ Maxi Jazz, he equated the title of the album fitting because it was also reminiscent of the arrival of his parents who were migrants to Britain in the 1950s.
Got it.
So I absolutely love this album. It's by far one of my favorites. No Roots is the album that I put you on to when we first started, and we are our first year in the Disc Dungeon.
We started a year ago?
We started a year ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 29 episodes in 1 year.
Guys, if you've been following, we've been MIA for a bit.
Yep.
With with good news. You know what I mean? I think obviously what's going on, the pandemic and Corona has obviously a lot of people are just, not having a good time. But we we've come bearing good news. So our time away has been well spent.
Yes.
Yeah. So back to the album. I give it an 8. I enjoyed it as well. It definitely, most of all, it transports me somewhere. You know what I mean? The soundscapes, the instrumentation, and most of all, the lyrics. What they're talking about, what the substance is not. This isn't just mindless music, and that's always great it's always great to hear. This album was released in 2007.
Yeah, happier
right?
times. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a kid, 17 years old back then.
I was already in the workforce.
Yeah, you were like 45, right?
Oh no,
No?
jeez.
Damn.
Oh my God, I'm changing your diaper, youngin.
But yeah, I put you on to Gorillaz.
Demon Days.
Demon Days.
Yes.
So I would think.
I love that album. I know some of the big singles off of that album, and that's all I've known from that album. It was nice to hear the whole thing and really dive into it. They're very psychedelic, which reminds me of the B-52s, but no negative connotation like how you absorbed the B-52s, which is from our last video.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, the album is very interesting because it seems like to be a various album where it's eclectic music from different spots. You've got some rap in there. You've got a lot of cinemascape or unearthly music that just pops in. And there's one song that even sounds like there's a spaceship that's about to either overview a carnival, or it seems like a perspective from the spaceship to Earth, and the space aliens seem to view humans as carnival carnies.
Well, it's interesting you say that, though, because the inspiration behind this album is the demon in all of us, and how humans have this innate capability to destroy themselves. So yes, so it is very much, I'm glad that translated, because this album very much is kind of like an outer body experience looking at the chaos that's ensuing.
Yeah, and that's so fitting with this album, because it's just a lot of it is chaos, because you get your heavy rock ballads, and then it dives into trip hop, and you're like, wait a minute, what just happened? And then it wraps up with like a 60s like sitcom theme, and then a 60s beach theme. Like, I was waiting for a Net Funicello to pop out and be like, do the ska. And I was like, what is going on here? But I really enjoyed it. I definitely give this album an 8. It would have scored higher if it was more consistent. I do like the various aspect of it, but I sometimes do like organization.
Yeah. It was very.
It's like all over the place.
Very loose concept. Yeah. And they actually they like, it's critics state that, like, this is one of their comments. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean bad or good. Obviously, it's all about your opinion, but it's not an album that's tied in. Every song makes sense. They reprise, they foreshadow. No. I mean, it's kind of just chaotic.
Yeah, it's all over the place. But I do love that song, All Alone. I just felt like it took me somewhere, and it was the standout song of the album, as well as.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at.
Sorry, I just had this shout about.
Hey, listen, man. You don't even have that. I was gonna say, because we usually have a big monitor that, like, we put our notes up, and I was gonna say, well, you got the big notes in your computer, but we don't. So it's all in his head. I've got a lot in my mind. I got to put it all together, and so I put notes. But yeah, there was one song that Feel Good Inc.
Yeah,
Feel Good Inc.
That's like the big one of the big hits that they've had in their
that
careers.
song was definitely a standout. I think the most standout, but the second would be All Alone, because those two were just, it was a nice little bookend, but it was like right in the middle of the album. So I was like, okay. So actually, it's ironic, because when it was playing on it, that song finished, I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's the end of the album. And then it was like, no, there's about 20 more songs. And I was like, oh my God, where are they going with this album?
Yeah, for me it would be Music Matters, definitely. This is where
I suppose you're gonna have to go to your notes.
I suppose that I'm going to have to go back, because there was one that was called The Man in You.
That's a dope song.
I like The Man in You. I like Hope and Glory.
Yeah, Hope and Glory is dope. That's about DJ's Maxi Jazz's parents coming.
Got it.
To the United States.
And Music Matters. And to segue into Music Saved My Life, you were telling me that Music Matters actually matters
Yes.
a lot to you.
So that song so this album has a very interesting connotation. It has two big connections to my life. As you know, I've been in the fashion world for some time, but not on a runway or anything. I don't model. But I'm too sexy for my shirt. No. So being in the business, I've had a lot of mentors over time and a lot of people that I connected with. And a lot of the connection was through music. And this guy, his name's Ney. I think he moved back to Brazil, but he put me onto this album years ago. He gave me a best of. And none of these songs were on it, but I just loved what I heard. So I had to dive into it. And that was around 2007, actually, when the album came out. I had no idea. And then I heard spiders, crocodiles, and caterpillars. And that took me by surprise. I was like, this is such a bizarre song, but I really like it. And there's like, you know, as the album stated, this was built upon the arrival of the two children of the two main singers on the album, the arranger and the singer, Rolio and Sister Bliss. And, you know, I just had this connection with it. And then hearing the little voice at the end, oh, what is this? Oh, it's headphones. Oh, what are you doing? You put them on your ears and you listen to your music. What is this? It's diaphragm. You're speaking to the diaphragm. You're speaking to the microphone. I'm speaking to the microphone. And beforehand, I thought that was super cute, and it really left an impression on me. That so much so that I actually, now, ironically, this is during the time of downloading music illegally. So I LimeWired the hell out of this album. I bought it recently because I support the band, but at that time I really didn't have the money to do it. And so I downloaded the whole album officially and got the album in its right play state, because me hearing it, I hope was the opening of this album. So I was like, oh, okay, there's a lot of deep inner meanings going on here. And I kind of understood the inclination of children arriving on the scene. And then skipped forward to 2009, 2 years later, my uncle gives me the news that, he's going to have, well, not he, but his wife is going to have a kid. So I was like, oh, wow, that's great. And then I did the math, and I was like, oh, wow, that's the first kid in our family since me. That's a 30-year gap between children's in my family, my mother's side of the family. So it gave me hope that, the family would continue, because it was only my mom, my uncle, my aunt, and my grandmother had passed. So it was literally my mom, my uncle, my aunt, and myself. There's only 4 people left. So it was very disheartening. And one of the things I was doing in New Jersey is I heard there was some cousins of mine that lived out here, but I haven't been able to find them. So I really just knew my whole life, the 4 of them, my grandmother being the 5, the 5th. And, unfortunately that she passed away, so it dwindled us down. But with the arrival of Michael, it was good news, good hope. And I also connected family friends, my grandmother's best friends, to my uncle, because I invited them to the baby shower of my cousin at the time, before he was born, Michael. And I went and did a music photo CD legally, because, it wasn't shown anywhere. And I had this playing, and I timed it so that there's a lyric sync that I did where my uncle's shocked to see my grandmother's best friends, because my grandmother never got to see his children. She only got to see, I was the only grandchild that my grandmother got to meet. So having that connection, that deep connection to such a historically long, they had been friends since 1940.
Wow.
So that historically long friendship, coming, and now the next generation coming abroad. So having someone of that era being able to see the fruits and the growth of the family again after so many years of watching people pass away, it was such a deep and amazing moment in my life. So this has 2 great connections: a bonding between coworkers and mentors at my job, and my family growing. So To All New Arrivals just hits all the right chords. And I love the music. I mean, The Man in You, To All New Arrivals, Spiders, Crocodiles, and Caterpillars, just so many fun songs. That song is actually a cover, and it features the lead singer of The Cure in his own cover. It's just really kind of cool. It's kind of like when Sting popped up. I managed to do it again, folks. When Sting popped up in Every Breath You Take, the cover when Biggie died, remember?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And he actually came in and sang the chorus. So I said, Biggie is dead, and Biggie is dead. Now get on my bread, because Biggie is dead. So that was P. Diddy counting his money. Biggie Smalls died. Terrible. Wow. So, yeah, tell me about your connection to the
Segue. Well, the Gorillaz don't really have a connection like that as deep. For me, it was more so, this album came out in 2005. In 2005, I'm just getting really big into gangster rap.
Oh.
Wow. I'm 15 years old and I'm listening to Biggie. I'm listening to Tupac, Eazy-E. I'm just like, fuck this and fuck that. And I'm loving it. And I'm loving these aggressive beats and the Gorillaz. And I had just come out of like a very emo rock type of phase, which I later went into again. But the Gorillaz managed to kind of fuse the two. You know what I mean? They as you saw on this album, they have a lot of hip hop rap influences in this album. And so, really what it did is just it opened my mind up a little more. And also just the way that they approach their marketing and the way that they show themselves. You don't know who they are. You don't see their faces.
Right, they're always a cartoon.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that in itself just, it kind of, again, it just opened up my mind to the fact that, music isn't just about the actual music. It's also about the representation and in this case, the visuals and really truly a band that allowed me to engage not just with the music, but with the visual aspect as well. And, other bands and other people have gone ahead and done this, but, nothing as memorable as the Gorillaz. You see those cartoons and you know exactly who they are, even without listening to the music. As a 15-year-old kid, moving to a new school district, having to make new friends again, and just being in a new environment, just so many changes going on, and it was evident in my musical taste at that point and how I was feeling, and that chaos that you experienced during this album, it was relatable to me.
Yeah, because you're going through a lot of chaotic moments in your own life. Yeah,
exactly. It was relatable to me, and it just helps you channel that frustration, that anger, that happiness, whatever it is, the plethora of things that I was feeling at that moment.
Deep.
I tried, you know what I mean? I kind of tried to sound the little violin again.
It was chaos because it was hurting.
It was hurting.
I was hurting inside.
And I was just so deep. But guys, that's the music saved my life section.
And now we're getting on to Behind the Beat.
He's the beat and I'm
behind him. There we go. You get it? Dad joke.
Guys, so as always, the production and the mixing of this podcast is done by Joel Polanco, a proud member of our company called Made by Audios. We are a production company in New York City. We make music. We produce artists. We develop artists. We make beats. We have sessions here in this studio that if you're watching YouTube, then you're obviously seeing where we are. But if you're listening to the podcast, our studio is located in Brooklyn. And in this section, we just talk a little bit about what goes on behind the beats, what goes on behind the production, and these past few weeks have been a whirlwind, of personal endeavors that have taken me specifically away from making music, but in general, with what's going on in the world, we've taken a step back. And we've decided that our focus is primarily going to be on hosting virtual sessions. If you don't know what a virtual session is, it's
like
pretty
Zoom.
It's something like Zoom. It's like having a meeting right on Zoom, but we use Discord. If you're familiar with Discord,
that's the thing you can look at all the boobies, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of ratchetness that goes on. There's a lot of ratchetness that goes on Discord, but
so ratchet.
But specifically for
there's good shit on there.
but specifically for us, Discord allows us to share our screen. It allows us to create a community of artists and producers. And we use another software called Audio Movers, which essentially brings the studio to your house.
Oh, dope.
So you're sitting at home, you put your headphones on, you have your laptop open, and you would be listening and watching us create this beat in front of you virtually, as if you were in the studio.
So
full quality.
You figured out how to purge your own studio.
Pretty much, you know.
But it's kind of crazy.
But it's also because we understand. We understand that that a lot of people are scared to even just leave their house, and specifically put them, go to a space where a lot of other people are going to, and not everybody is taking this seriously. So, like you said, we found a way where we can keep business going, where we can keep songwriting, we can keep creating music, and you can just be right at home.
That's dope.
So that's our virtual sessions, and tomorrow we will be dropping a bunch of beats, a bunch of instrumentals that you can go on BeatStars or on our website, madebyaudios.com, where you'll be able to listen, purchase, write a song to it, lease it. We got leasing, we have exclusive, and we'll be dropping beats regularly. So again, we're very much focusing our efforts on an online presence right now, and as soon as things clear up, we'll be having more slots available for people to come into the physical studio. But for now, we just want to keep everybody safe. So
yeah, I mean, the problem with Brooklyn is there are a lot of folks with a lot of issues when it comes to wearing a mask.
yes,
And due to those contingencies, you have to make your own secondary plans.
yeah.
And this is the perfect way to do it. I commend you on this wonderful, wondrous endeavor. And when are we going to drop an album together? Can you imagine? We could put audio tune on me.
Yeah, audio tune.
Oh, yeah, whatever it is.
No, yes. Like I told you, we're going to drop a video, and this video is going to be Joe before.
I sounded like shit before.
And then after.
I am amazing.
Something like that.
Yeah, it'll be a lot better because you guys will have tweaked it with the auto tune.
But for sure, guys. Again, Audios is here for all your production needs. So if you need a song mixed, if you need a song mastered, if you need us to make a song in general, we pretty much everything under the sun. And if you go to our BeatStars as of tomorrow, you'll be able to see all the different types of genres that we specialize in. And that was Behind the Beat.
Behind the beat. Got some exciting news.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be working with Stefano again.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So be on the lookout for that at tobescene.com. The number 2, BESCENE. And we are always here to support artists at tobescene.com. A lot of other fun videos are going to be coming out soon, as well as the return of 390 and the new morphed trailer chat, which was the original setup for this website where we talked about trailers of movies that were coming out. So now it's called Trailer Fix, because since nobody can get to the movies anymore and you want that fix, we're going to talk about trailers.
The Trailer Fix. That's actually cool.
Yeah. So I actually have that website launching soon, trailerfix.com.
Oh, yeah, guys. And if you want more information on Disc Dungeon or just another place where to access our podcasts or our YouTube videos, madebyaudios.com has a page dedicated to Disc Dungeon. So
this is great because we're spread very widely across the internets, because I also own TOOBESCEEN, which has Disc Dungeon and all Made by Audio stuff.
Oh, man.
So if you Google us, we're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
Oh, this has been a lot of fun. And now
we bring you tricks of the keys.
Guys, Tricks of the Keys is a section where we talk about a song that sounds like it has a specific meaning, but it's just it comes from somewhere else. Sometimes it could be a sexual meaning turned into it could be something sexual turned into something actually serious. It could be something that sounds romantic and serious, and it could be actually very rude and sexual. In this case, hence the title of this episode, Arrivals and Departures, or Arrival and Departure.
Arrival and Departure.
Whatever. We play with this concept of how new life comes in, old life is taken away, and how just this cycle continues, and it's just humanity in general. And there's this song that Alicia Keys and Sampha just released called 3 Hour Drive. And I actually just saw a special on it on Sound Exploder on Netflix, where they explored this song, and it caught my attention specifically because of this episode, where you listen to the song, and it just kind of sounds like this man or this woman are going on a 3-hour drive, and they're thinking about their relationship. Maybe they're contemplating the good times and the bad times, and they're grateful for it. But in reality, the inspiration for this song comes from the fact that Sampha, prior to writing this song, had lost his mother. And Alicia Keys, prior to writing this song, had just had a baby.
With Swiss Beats. Lucky bastard.
So it's again, it's very interesting, right? Because these two individuals, these two talented individuals come together to write this song, and they're coming from totally different places. But they're still able to write in the same, like, parallel to each other, because again, this is humanity. This is just part of life. You have a baby, somebody dies. A baby comes in and somebody dies.
The arrival and departure.
It just keeps happening, and it will never end. And
sunrise, sunset.
Exactly. And it's this contrast that really makes, that we live through and really makes us humans.
Yeah, that was an excellent Tricks of the Keys. I listened to that song. I didn't know, first of all, it was Sampha, and you put me on to Sampha earlier in the year, and I actually listen to him more frequently. Luckily, Spotify gives me a bunch of songs.
Recommendation.
This one. Oh, okay, very good. I like it. So it's been great, and this has been a great year. We're wrapping 2020 on a high note with arrivals, because we have arrived in the podcast world, hitting nearly 5,000 downloads. Wow. And only in 29 episodes. So that's pretty impressive, if you ask me.
Yeah, guys. Thank you so much for everybody who's listened, who's commented, who supported us. Again, you can find us on Instagram at This Dungeon Podcast. Or is it just This Dungeon?
Just Dungeon.
Damn, man. I don't even know my own Instagram.
You got to get on the gram. Do it for the gram.
Do it for the gram, yo. Actually, that's interesting, because I'm not on the gram anymore.
I know. I saw that. Talk about departure.
There you go. So I guess we can add that into here. I departed from Instagram. I believe that it's not a necessary tool for an artist to share his music, and sometimes it becomes more toxic than
it needs to
than it is productive or useful or engaging. So those are just my 2 cents. I'm not here to bore you with that.
But we've arrived on Instagram, and we sincerely hope you follow us there, because we're sharing older episodes that didn't have covers before, and now they do. You can check that out. And make sure you follow us and check us out on SoundCloud, because we have a couple of SoundCloud exclusives, stuff that I've been filling in the time with some great friends. AJ Orsini from Orsini's Uncensored Mind, which you were a special guest singer on. Yes. And Hive Mind Radio's host, Stephen James. I always put James first because my brother's name is James. And that dude's like a brother, because he showed me how to set up the podcast. So it's pretty dope. He's from Hive Mind Radio. Stephen James, awesome dude. And we did a whole episode about grunge music. It was dope.
Grunge.
Yeah, it was good stuff, man. So definitely check that out. And, those are also on the podcast, but you can check it out on SoundCloud right away.
Well, guys, as always, I'm Julian Valencia.
And I'm Joe Dub.
Joel's going to hate us, right?
He's going to hate us. Kate's going to hate us.